Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! Good morning, Descendants and Zombies fans. It is just after 8:35 a.m. in the morning, and I'm your host, Jonathan Clarke, your voice of Descendants and Zombies, here as always and forever to help you make sense of everything Descendants and Zombies as we count you down to the release of Zombies 5, which is forever away. 2028 is when the release window is suggesting this will drop, but people are making their predictions early on as to what could be inside of that vortex. Everything has been discussed from mermaids to pirates to sirens to witches, and it will be discussed at least for the next 4 years. But I'm cool with a 4-year release window. It seems like forever and a day away, I know, but we will get there, because we will get there together, and we will be stronger than ever coming out on the other side as fans of Zombies, because the amount of love and support that you have shown the Zombies franchise in light of all the criticism it's received is unbelievable. How you supported Victor and Nova, the new characters in the Zombies franchise who are now carrying the torch from Meg Donnelly and Milo Manheim's character Zed and Addison, has been absolutely fabulous, and it blows my mind. I remember the first time I saw Zombies and I heard about the script. I read the script, it was amazing, and I thought it was going to be a very special time for all fans of things like Hannah Montana and High School Musical from past generations of Disney. This is really coming to its own, and it's a generation of its own, because of how it inspired us about second chances existing, how acceptance could be really achieved for somebody. Whatever the meaning of Zombies was for you, I am here to tell you there is nothing wrong with being a fan of the Zombies franchise. I know it's received its fair share of criticism, but the people who have criticized it are just filled with jealousy because of the success that Zombies has seen. All Meg Donnelly ever wanted to do from the very first moment she stepped onto the stage for Disney as a star in the Zombies franchise was to entertain each and every one of you, and to be a part of something so special. And herself and Milo Manheim had that opportunity given to them, and they had the respect shown to them by the fans who came out by the thousands every time there was a meet and greet, who came out by the thousands for the Worlds Collide tour, who supported Zombies and made it the #1 movie, the #1 franchise on Disney Plus every single time a movie premiered, with over 250 million hours of stream time on Disney Plus. That is incredible. Just behind Descendants, with over 781 million hours of stream time. I will forever and always miss Milo Manheim and Meg Donnelly's contributions to the Zombies franchise, but in that same light, I am also looking forward to the contributions of Victor and Nova, who have yet to be seen in the Zombies franchise, and how their love story will expand from what we've already seen. After having seen each other in their dreams, I think that was a very powerful way to introduce two new characters to the Zombies franchise in a whole new generation. I think there was never a more powerful way to introduce two characters we had never seen or heard tell of before in the Zombies franchise. And now with Meg Donnelly and Milo Manheim offering creative direction from behind the camera, I'm really excited to see where this one will go. I love talking about Zombies. I think it was one of the most powerful franchises of all time, and more people now feel inspired from the Zombies franchise about acceptance, about being courageous, about standing up for what you believe in, and I love that so much. And some of the most beautiful friendships have been created from being a fan of both Descendants and Zombies, because now people understand each other better. People stand up for each other in situations that you never think you would encounter every day of your life, because there are people out there who do want to see a little bit of kindness shown to them every day of their life, even though they don't admit it to you, because they want to be brave. The thing is, there is never a shame in admitting that you want to see kindness shown to you, and I think some of the most beautiful friendships have been created from Descendants and Zombies. Now, while I may be criticized for believing that, I really do stand to that. Because I think that I have seen this with my own two eyes. I have seen how girls have remained friends forever through their passion for Descendants and Zombies. And I think the same thing applies to the Zombies franchise. By Zombies swore down to the vampires, despite all the criticism the music videos received, the music got better, the story was so powerful, and it was a very different concept from Addison trying to understand her origin from film to film by the time Zombies 4 happened. Because there was a significant moment where the torch was actually passed from Milo Manheim and Meg Donnelly characters to the characters of Freya Skye and Malachi Burton, which will never ever be forgotten. And there still are rumors rising up from out of the abyss that we could see Meg Donnelly and Milo Manheim even make an appearance in the form of a cameo. While that remains to be seen, I think them sitting behind the camera is something they wanted to achieve for a very long time. Because when they were stars of the Zombies franchise, they didn't have a whole lot of creative freedom. They were at the mercy of producers and writers, telling them how to be, how to feel, how to present their characters. Now, as creative directors and executive producers, they have creative control, and they have swing that they have always wanted to have with the Zombies franchise, which I, for one, believe it will bring it to life. Because there is no greater satisfaction in the entertainment industry knowing that you have had say in something that has meant something so much to you for forever. And Zombies has meant something for Meg Donnelly and Milo Manheim for their entire lives, because it was a breakout role. It was an opportunity to become noticed. It was the first thing that Meg Donnelly had ever done prior to getting roles on shows like The Winchesters and American Housewife, and it really showcased her for who she truly was, somebody who was so appreciative of her roles. No matter what the opportunities were that were presented to her, she made the most of it. I mean, ever since the song Someday was presented in the first Zombies movie, the first powerful duet between Milo Manheim and Meg Donnelly, you saw that chemistry. I think everybody instantly saw the chemistry between Meg Donnelly and Milo Manheim and knew how special they were going to be for a franchise that nobody knew anything about. Nobody could ever make sense of. But as time went on, you grew more appreciative of it, and you felt close to these zombie stars. And you may have felt close to characters like Troy Bolton and Gabriela Montez from High School Musical fame years ago, but you never felt as close to stars as you did for the Zombies franchise. There was something just so special about this, and the thing was, the script was so unpredictable. Nobody knew what was going to happen from one moment to the next. And it really brought me back to my times as a child when I would try to get abducted by aliens, and how I thought vampires really did exist, and how I wanted to be a vampire slayer more than anything else in my entire life. And there were many times in my lifetime when I thought that I went to school with a bunch of vampires. I had dated girls who had thought they were vampires. I even lived with a guy who thought he was a werewolf at one point. And you haven't lived until you live with a guy who thinks he's a werewolf howling at the moon every night at midnight. It is really a weird experience. It's sometimes really off. But, I've had some of the most strangest things happen to me. I've even lived across the road from a vampire who moved here from the Yukon when his police career ended. And, it's a whole lot of fun when you really believe what you're watching. I was always a huge fan of things like Twilight and the Vampire Diaries. I heard Freya Sky talking about that in one of the reaction videos I did the other day, and it brought me back to how many people were just absolutely crazy and falling in love with Twilight every single day of their life. They either read the books, they saw the movies, they had the Twilight dolls, every bit of Twilight merchandise they could get their hands on. They were crazy about it, but they wanted nothing more than to be a part of the Twilight and the Vampire Diaries history. And I think that every aspect of vampire TV has been affiliated with some form of history in one way or another, and in one way or another we have been all a part of it. And I think that those times are times that I am never ever going to forget. I know that I will never ever forget the profound impact that Descendants and Zombies has had on my heart. That's why I have no issues with talking about it every day for the rest of my life, because I know that Descendants and Zombies made me famous overnight. Descendants and Zombies introduced me to a whole new generation of fans, and a group of fans that I am so proud to entertain every single day on this podcast with innovative commentaries and thoughts on the direction of the plot. While people will choose to criticize Descendants and Zombies for forever, I give you my word, I will forever and always be here talking about Descendants and Zombies in the way it was meant to be talked about for a very long time. Because I think there is no place for criticism in a conversation about Descendants and Zombies. Because you guys have been YouTubing Descendants and Zombies for the last 10 years, and what have you found? You have found videos filled with criticism. You have found videos filled with negative reviews about your favorite stars like Clarke and Malia Baker, so much so that they no longer YouTube themselves or Google themselves because they're afraid of what they're going to find. And for me, that creates a problem. That presents an issue that we don't need to be presented with. I think if we're going to talk about your favorite Descendants and Zombie stars, we should give them the benefit of the doubt. And we should allow them to figure out their place in the world. Because at 20 years old, you haven't lived. Kylie Control just turned 20 this past June. And she's receiving more criticism than she's ever received before. Why? Because she's such a talented actress? Because she believes in herself? She believes in her messages? She believes in her music? For those of you who don't know, producing an album independently, which Kylie Control is currently doing, is extremely difficult. It is really hard to put yourself out there for how you want to be perceived rather than what a media or a label wants you to be perceived as. And for those of you who are producing albums independently, I want to say thank you for really putting your heart into everything that you believe in. Meg Donnelly just recently did it with Dying Art. While Dying Art may not be the #1 album in the world right now, Dying Art is receiving a lot of attention for its powerful songs such as Strangers and other songs that Meg Donnelly is promoting on the side. The thing is, it is always a constant struggle, and you never know how fans of music are going to perceive you, because music is a very difficult industry to achieve acceptance in. I have seen so many people crash and burn and drastically fail at trying to produce an album independently over the years, and I give a profound amount of credit and a huge shout out to Kylie Cantrell and Meg Donnelly, along with a lot of warm hugs, with thoughts and hopes for the best for them, because the music industry is just so unforgiving and sometimes very cruel. So is the entertainment industry, because Meg Donnelly was recently turned down for the role of Supergirl in the latest live-action Superman movie. I had contemplated actually shutting the door on this live-action Superman movie because Meg Donnelly had been refused to be Supergirl in that movie. Millie Alcott didn't do a very good job. And I watched for Supergirl's appearance in that movie for the entire 2-hour and 10-minute long movie, 2 hours of my life, that I ultimately drew the conclusion to that I would never get back. And when I finally saw Supergirl make her appearance in that movie, I thought about Meg Donnelly. I thought about Meg Donnelly throughout the whole movie, and why she was so upset about being turned down for a role that was so insignificant to the Superman movie and the franchise, because I could never remember Supergirl being so disrespectful. She was drunk, she was losing her mind, she was playing with Superman's dog, Krypto. It was kind of really stupid. And I thought to myself, Meg Donnelly deserved better. And I thought to myself, I'd wasted my time watching the Superman premiere. There are photos of me all over social media attending the Superman premiere, but it certainly was not because of what Superman did in the movie. It was not because of the story. It wasn't because it was the best Superman movie of all time. It was just to see what Meg Donnelly had been turned down for, because initially I was thinking about shutting the door on that opportunity. Just because she was shut down for being Supergirl in that movie and was never a Melissa Benoist in the eyes of producers and writers for the Supergirl TV series. The thing was, there are more opportunities out there for Meg Donnelly. She was a girl I instantly fell in love with, and I have a lot of respect for. And I think that, when you're brokenhearted over how people feel about you or how you're turned down for roles, it really says something, because she really wants to be a part of all of your lives in one way or another, even if it was just because of Zombies. I think Zombies really did allow her to really showcase her talent. And while people will always refer to Descendants and Zombies as indie films, which I think are completely ridiculous ways to refer to a franchise as, because of how popular it is, Descendants and Zombies gave us a chance to meet these girls for the very first time ever. While we had previously seen Kylie Cantrell on shows like Gabby Byrne and the Unsittables and High School Musical the series, and a couple of movies where she just made appearances, and on YouTube, of course, with Hello Kylie being as popular as it was in the very first year with over 500,000 subscribers, which is huge for Kylie Cantrell. The thing is, Kylie Cantrell will forever and always be remembered for this powerful representation of a character such as Red, who didn't care what anybody thought of her, who became one of the most revered Descendants characters of all time, and from where I stand to look at it, and my estimation, one of the most powerful Descendants characters of all time, better than Mal and Sophia Carson's character Evie ever were. Because it seemed like Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson were there just for the opportunity. They weren't there to entertain you in the way that Kylie Cantrell was. Because you could really tell that Kylie Cantrell, it really meant something to her to play this character, because she was such a powerful character who didn't care what anybody thought of her. And everybody had a different opinion about every character that was part of this new franchise, from Red to Chloe to Bridget. Everybody had something to say about them. My favorite character became Bridget because of just how kind she was and how much of an inspiration she was for me to be a more kind person to people in this lifetime, who were just looking for a little bit of extra boost of kindness in their own life. And I like to believe some way or somehow I became a kinder person because of Ruby Rose Turner's portrayal of the character Bridget, who really put into perspective how much of a profound impact bullying can have on somebody's life. Because I know there are people who just started school just yesterday who are going through the same thing every single day. And for those of you who find it to be a constant struggle, I want you to know that you're not alone. And you will make it through this year, and you will come out of this school year a stronger person, regardless of how many people feel about you or what their opinions may be of you, because I know opinions of people vary. But the thing is, I've always believed, if I can offer you a little bit of piece of advice, whatever you're going through, I've always believed that you only need a few good friends in this lifetime. And if you have 2 or 3 really good friends that you can keep for the rest of your life, then you're going places. You don't need 500 friends to always be there for you. And if you've lost 450 of those friends and you keep 50 of them for your whole life, then you're going to be okay. You're going to be just fine. I went through high school with probably 3 or 4 really good friends. That was the best piece of advice my mom ever gave me. She was a school teacher for over 25 years. And the best piece of advice she ever gave me was that all you really need are 3 or 4 really good friends. And she always believed that I really did fall into a good group of friends who were incredibly supportive of me. You know, we had the same passions for video games, TV shows, and movies that we loved growing up. We were big fans of the Power Rangers and Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark? Which is why when I heard about Mila Baker being a part of the Are You Afraid of the Dark reboot years later, after being a fan of it since 1990, I was a huge supporter of that. I was a huge supporter of everything Kylie Contrell and Malia Baker did, which is why when I heard about all the rumors about their relationship, apparently, I jumped on board as a supporter of that because I think that a friendship between 2 girls is incredibly beautiful, and it's one of the strongest forces in the world. One thing I've noticed about Descendants and Zombies fans is they are inseparable. And I love that so much because no matter what someone is faced with every day of their life, no matter how many times they have to wake up and stare adversity in the face, the people who became friends because of Descendants and Zombies are still friends a decade and a half later because they believe in each other's passions so much. And they've been there for each other from the very beginning. And that's what makes people stronger. That's what makes people not afraid to wake up every morning and be afraid of what they're going to face every day when they go to school or in their everyday life, or because they can't make sense of relationships, like Kylie Contrell was crying her eyes out last summer because she couldn't make sense of her own relationship. I want Kylie to know that she did nothing wrong. And every morning at 6:30 a.m. when I see Kylie uploading a scheduled video on her TikTok account, it brings a smile to my face because I know Kylie Contrell is having fun. One of the greatest honors of my life is knowing that these stars are having fun and making the most of these opportunities that Descendants and Zombies has presented them with. Because I don't think they need to feel as if they're under control by Disney. I don't feel as if they need to feel as if they can't say what they want or how they feel to each and every one of you, because I think there is something deep down inside of them they would love to tell you, but they just can't. That's why I've always wanted to be the writer and producer behind Descendants and Zombies and offer creative control, because I would take away this pressure that is constantly on their shoulders of being the way Disney wants them to be. That's the thing that I've always been irritated by with Disney, is that Disney was not allowing them creative control. They haven't allowed them creative control since the days of Hannah Montana and High School Musical. And they've really got to come into their own. And they've really got to get to a point where they trust these stars not to leak anything or to say what they want and how they feel. Because I think that if Kylie Control was telling us how she really felt about the direction of Descendants and Zombies, I think she would say a whole lot more and have a whole lot more to say where that went. Kind of like how I do every morning on this podcast. I don't shy away from my feelings on Descendants and Zombies. And how I feel about Descendants and Zombies with me is what you see is what you get. It's never how I want you to see me. It's always with me at what you see is what you get. And my opinions about Descendants and Zombies vary from video to video. Because I am really excited about the future of these franchises. And I, for one, I've never ever wanted to see them end. If I've wanted to do anything, I've wanted to perceive these franchises for how they've been meant to be perceived for a very long time. I've never wanted to offer creative criticism towards Descendants and Zombies like many people choose to do. I think they have a whole lot of fun tearing down the credibility of your favorite stars and making them feel pointless, making them feel as if what they're doing is pretty much worthless to each and every one of us who have been fans of Descendants and Zombies for a very long time. I say this because I know what it's like to be you, and I know what it's like to be excited about a Zombies or a Descendants premiere. A couple of weeks ago, when Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires premiered, we were going into this after having seen the music video for Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires Place to Be having premiered, and we were coming out of the light of the criticism that the music videos were receiving. Don't Mess With Us received a lot of criticism too. But what I wanted to do was go into this movie with an open heart and an open mind. I sat in front of my TV with no piece of paper or pencil, and I took no notes. And an hour after the movie had premiered, I jumped on my podcast with no pre-written statements, no pre-written jot notes, and I just spoke with an open heart and an open mind about the movie. And my videos about zombies received hundreds of views. From the very first Descendants and Zombies video that was uploaded here on this YouTube channel, I became a celebrity overnight, and I've had no regrets since. because I believe the most effective way of talking about Descendants and Zombies is speaking with an open heart and an open mind, because if you can't do that, there's really no point of you ever talking about Descendants and Zombies on your show. Everybody who talks about Descendants and Zombies, organizes their thoughts. They write down something on a piece of paper, it's a pre-written statement, or they think about what they're going to say before they jump on this podcast. Now, while I may have thought about what to say before I record my thoughts on a podcast, I never pre-write anything. And all my thoughts just come at you one thought after another about what I think is going to happen. Because for me, that is the most effective way of doing it. And there's a greater appreciation for the host of the show being brought forth if he does that, he or she does that, than just having something pre-written. Because it seems like something that is so staged from beginning to end. Because the majority of these videos about Descendants and Zombies really aren't offering you what you want to see and what you want to get the most out of being a fan of Descendants and Zombies. Because there isn't really much of a variety of videos of Descendants and Zombies on YouTube every day. It's the same 4 or 5 videos that you watch all the time. Your favorite music videos, the same 4 or 5 interviews that was done for PR a year and a half ago for Descendants and Zombies. It's really frustrating. And I can only imagine, being a fan of Descendants and Zombies, how frustrating that is for each and every one of you. But I'm here to make a promise to each and every one of you, just as I did last year. There will always be a video uploaded on this YouTube channel about Descendants and Zombies if you take a chance on me and you can trust me. Like Aladdin looked at Jasmine in the 1992 Aladdin Classic and he said, "Do you trust me?" And she said, "I do." And they went on this magic carpet ride. Well, I'm asking you the same thing, to trust in me for a Descendants and Zombies video every single day of your life for the rest of your life. And there will be one uploaded here throughout different times throughout the day with my opinions on either or in them. Because I think there's a profound amount of credit that needs to be shown to Descendants and Zombies fans. Not just to the franchise, but to you guys, because you have deserved to see a whole lot better on YouTube for a very long time. And I've just wanted to be that guy to give it to you, because I'm just as big of a fan of Descendants and Zombies as each and every one of you. And I think there is never enough profound amount of credit that can be shown to these franchises. I will come back later on this afternoon with another video about Descendants and Zombies for you at some point this afternoon, because I have a lot to say where Descendants and Zombies goes. And I'm really excited to talk about it with you every day. I look forward to this every day. This show has become a very valuable part of my existence. This show really has made up my existence because it gave me a second chance to be heard after my radio career had ended ever since 1999. It's been an incredible journey that you girls have had me on, talking about Descendants and Zombies for what feels like forever. And one of the greatest honors of my life to be able to talk about Descendants and Zombies, because if one is going to talk about Descendants and Zombies, he has to establish an understanding between himself, he or she does, with their audience. And I know my audience, my niche that I fell into was certainly unexpected, but I'm so grateful that I found this niche. I fell into this niche, and this niche has made me their voice of Descendants and Zombies, to allow me the honor of having helped them make sense of everything Descendants and Zombies. Because while people talk about Descendants and Zombies and offer you criticism, I have shied away from that. And I wanted to showcase Descendants and Zombies for what it truly is. A movie filled with so much high expectations, so much hope, second chances, acceptance. I've never ever wanted to shy away from that, because that is the true value that can be seen in both the Descendants and Zombies franchises. Because I'm here to tell you guys, you do matter. And Descendants and Zombies has desperately tried to convey that message in every chapter of every movie that you talk about, either Descendants or Zombies. Because each and every single person matters in their own way. And I think everybody deserves to have a chance taken on them. And I've never ever wanted to take that away from anybody. The hopes of seeing Zombies 5, Descendants 5, Wicked Wonderland ever happening, I've never ever wanted to take that away from your heart, because it holds a special place in your heart, just as Descendants and Zombies and all of you will forever and always hold a special place in my heart. So what I'm asking you to do is take a chance on me. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and you'll be glad you did. Because there will be a video uploaded on this YouTube channel every single day of my life. I know I sit in front of this podcast microphone every morning just before 9 a.m. and I record my thoughts on Descendants and Zombies. It's only 9 o'clock in the morning exactly, 8:59 to be precise. And I've already got one video out on Descendants and Zombies. And coming up later on this afternoon, I'll have another video about Descendants and Zombies. Because I know how much these franchises mean to you, and will forever and always hold a very special place in your heart. Every morning on this island, to mention too, is a very beautiful morning. Ever since the very first video was ever uploaded on this channel, every morning on this island has been incredibly beautiful, and I can't thank you guys enough for being here and being a part of something so special. Having the honor, this is really an honor for me, to be able to sit in front of this podcast microphone and talk about Descendants and Zombies, and it's the greatest honor of my life, because I honestly don't know where I'd be without each and every one of you. So I just want to say a profound thank you to everybody who is still here, because I know some of the very first subscribers that I've ever had on this YouTube channel are still here, and I honestly can't believe it. And I can't even put into words how appreciative I am of each and every single person still being here and being a part of this incredible journey of Descendants and Zombies for me for the last 10 years. 10 years ago, I uploaded my very first video about Descendants and Zombies, and I am still here. It was on a different YouTube channel. I was uploading Descendants and Zombies videos on at the time. But I never recognized the popularity of the franchise and how it would explode into what it is today. And I never ever thought, 10 years later after I uploaded my very first Descendants video about the original franchise, I will be here on a show solely devoted to talking about Descendants and Zombies, with over 54,000 views having happened for this YouTube channel. And I have each and every one of you to thank for that. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for listening to me when nobody else did. And thank you for allowing me to have come into your life as your voice of Descendants and Zombies. Having said that, I will return later on this afternoon with another video with my thoughts on Descendants and Zombies in it for you, and I invite you to join me for that. So don't forget to hit my subscribe and my like buttons if you haven't already, and get in on this incredible conversation, this incredible journey that we are all a part of. Bye, YouTube. We will talk again in just a few hours from now. Keep kindness in your heart as I will keep you in mind, and we will talk again in just a few hours from now.